Hello, my name is Carl Surrey and this is a video tutorial for the Facebook group called Fans of Serif Software. Now this is an adaptation of a Photoshop tutorial which was on a cover CD of Digital Photo magazine, and I'm sort of adapting it for use with Affinity Photo and to a certain extent Serif's earlier product Photo Plus, because apart from one sort of minor difference, it basically works the same way in Photo Plus as it will in Affinity Photo. To a certain extent, Photo Plus does the bit that is slightly different better, in my opinion, than Affinity Photo does, but I will touch on that when we come to it. Now, the object of this tutorial is to change in the colour of the hair to something like that. It seems to be all the rage nowadays for girls, and I'm guessing some boys, to colour their hair in various multicolours. So if you want to, you can sort of copy the fashion and change the hair colour of someone. And it's not necessarily just restricted to hair, and again hopefully I will touch on this a bit later on. Right, on with the tutorial. Now the chap in the Photoshop tutorial said that, you know, it is much better to have an all white background. I suppose if you're very good at cutting out and what have you, you could probably go with a cluttered background if you had one, but if you can get an all white background, the better it is. But like this image I got here, which I got off of pixabay.com, which is a royalty free website, the image background is not totally pure white, so we need to sort of alter that to start off with. Now this is the part where I think Photo Plus does this better, because if I go to Photo Plus, I've got the same picture open here. Now in Photoshop and Elements and in Photo Plus, when you open the Levels Adjustment, which is over here, you can alter the shadows and highlights and the midtones much like you can in Affinity Photo, but in Photoshop Elements and Photo Plus you also have these eyedroppers here. One will set the black point and one will set the white point. So if I click on set the white point and I click on somewhere on the background, it will make the background white. And as you can see, it's still slightly grey over here, so if I just click on that side, it will now make all of the background pure white, which is what we are looking for. So in this respect I think Photo Plus is better than Affinity Photo, and it really is something I think Serif should add into the next version of Affinity Photo, but that's just my personal opinion. So after this point, if you are doing this in Photo Plus, it's pretty much the same, so you can just copy what I do in Affinity Photo, just copy it in Photo Plus. So I'll shut that down now and just come back to Affinity Photo. So if I open an adjustment layer and levels, like I said, you don't have these eyedroppers, and you could alter, the sliders to try and get a white background. And I found with this particular picture, your picture may be slightly different, but I found that if I came to around about the 50% mark, it is getting there, but it's not quite there. So what I had to do was this cog down here in the bottom right hand corner, which is the blend ranges. If I click on that, it opens up the blending options, and in this left box here, which is the source layer ranges, if I clicked on the left hand node up here and held and dragged it right down to the bottom, I personally found this to get a much brighter, whiter image. So that is what I'm going for. So I will just close that down. Right, so obviously we've got too much, it's too bright in the center and over the face and the body of the girl here. So this is, let me just drop this. We now want to get the brush tool. You can just press B, or you can get it from over here, and you want to make sure that black is your foreground color, and I'm going to set the opacity up to 100%, and the hardness I'm going to have on 0, and what we're going to do with this levels adjustment, it has a built-in layer mask already attached to it. So if you paint black onto this white layer mask, it will bring back whatever is behind it. So I'm going to use the left and right square brackets keys just to increase the size of the brush, and I'm going to paint over the clothing and the face area. Try not to go too close to the white outside. I mean, you will obviously, in whichever image that you are going to work on, you will bring back some of the background, but I find it easier just to get as close as I can and not worry about bringing back little bits of the background like that, making sure I've got everything I want there, and then change the color to white, and I'm going to lower the opacity down to around the 50% mark, and I'm going to lower the brush size, and then I'm just going to paint some of this background away that has just crept in. Now obviously I'm doing this sort of as quick as I can for the sake of not boring you to tears watching me do this, but you could take much more time and effort to I made a mistake there. I'll just press Ctrl and Z, or I could have changed to black and just painted that back in. It's the beauty of using layer masks, because you can just paint black or white to erase or not erase, but hide or unhide areas that you want to keep or you want to remove. Right, I will leave that like that. I know it's not 100% perfect, but like I said, for the sake of speeding up this video, I am not going to be that fussy. So now that we have our pure white background and the image of this girl is back to its normal colours, we can then move on to the next part. Now I have tried this with a picture of a girl with darker hair. I mean, it does work, but not as well with girls with lighter hair or blonde hair. I would imagine blonde haired girls, doesn't have to be girls, but I mean blonde haired people's hair, this will work much better. But like I said, it does work with dark hair as well, you maybe just have to go with slightly more extreme colours for it to show up. Right, so now that we have to this point, we now want to add a new adjustment layer, and to this it is going to be the HSL Adjustment, or Hue Saturation and Lightness. And this is where we pick the hair color that we want. Now you can, this slider here, which is the hue slider, you can move it left and right to get whichever colors you want. Now the thing you have to remember here, we're looking at hair color. I know it is changing the face and the clothes and what have you, but really you just want to ignore that. We're looking for the color of the hair that you are going to go for. Now I'm going to come up to about 80%, which is around in the pink area. 80.5, that would do. Give me this like pink red color, and just to accentuate that, I'm going to push up the saturation, and I'm going to push it up to around 45, 46, that would do. It's close enough. So I've got all this red pink hair here. So I'm going to close that down, come back to the levels, and as you can see, much like the levels adjustment layer, the hue saturation adjustment layer has its own inbuilt layer mask. So if I get black as my foreground color, and I'm going to bring the opacity back up to 100%, hardness is still on 0, and I can just paint this back in. You don't have to worry too much about the going over the edge here of the white, because the white is being protected by the layer mask that is on the layer below. So I can again increase the brush size using the square bracket keys. You just have to sort of get out the majority of the image you can with a bigger brush size, but then lower the brush size to come in close, but again don't come too close with the setting, the opacity setting of 100%. And don't forget, if you've got, like I've got an arm over here, so don't forget there's areas like this that you may not notice, like hands for example, and arms that you may forget to go over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in close, and I'm going to lower the opacity down to around anything from 30 down to 15, but I'm going to go around about the 22%, that would do, and lower the brush size, and then just slowly bring back this skin color in and around the face and close to the hair. I mean, if you wanted to make the eyebrows the same color, you could just paint over that in black, but I don't think it would work too well, because the skin around the eyebrows would also come back as pink or whatever. So it's just a case of bringing back as much of that skin and getting the colour off of the skin or clothes or whatever it is that's you want to remove the colour that you've picked away. Now I'm going to go over this area here where the hairs are going over the clothes, I mean, luckily the clothes that this girl was wearing it didn't change that much when I used the Hue Saturation. So all I've got to do now is this arm over here. I didn't go too mad bringing this back earlier on because there are some stray hairs going over the arm, and I wanted to sort of maybe keep some of them within the sort of pink colour. Right, I think that's pretty much. But again, I'm gonna sort of probably do this a bit too quickly. Right, let me press Control and 0 to zoom out. And I think that will do. For that. So there you have different coloured hair, and you could, if you want, and you just wanted a one colour rechange, you could leave it at that, save it, and that would be the end of the tutorial. But if you want to add another colour, what you can do then, if with the Hue Saturations adjustment highlighted, duplicate it by pressing Ctrl and J, and as you see, the hair colour has changed already, and that is because the Hue Saturation adjustment sort of, it'll go back to its default colour, so it's not or it's just a case of the two different layers blending differently. But if you double click on this mask, you will come back to the tool, and then you can change the colours again to whichever colours you want by moving the hue slider or the saturation slider. But I quite like this dark blue colour, so I'm going to leave it as it is. And because the layer mask has been duplicated, the areas that we brought back earlier will still be okay. All we need to do now though is just to paint over the areas that we want to bring back the pink hair, or in my case pink hair. You want to bring back, so again, brush tool, I'm going to increase the opacity up to quite high, about 91 I've got there, and I've got black as my foreground tool. I'll make the brush tool a bit bigger, and then what I'll do, I've done a little bit there, and then I'm going to lower the opacity, bring it down to about 60%, a few clicks like that, bring down the opacity a bit more, so it's a sort of a gentle blend. And I'll do just one more. I'll leave it like that. And if you wanted to just tone it down a little bit more, you could lower the overall opacity of this top layer. I'm going to bring this down to around the 60% mark. 65%. I'll leave it at that. So there you can see I've changed the colour of her hair, and then I've changed it again, so it looks like she's dyed it two different colours. Now if you really wanted to, you could even change the colour of her lips, or the colour of her top, or her eyes, or whatever like that, because you could just add, if I duplicate this layer again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint over all of this, which I've just I need a higher opacity. There we go. bring back that blue colour back to where it was before I added this layer. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom in to her lips here, and I'm going to change to white and a smaller brush size, and then keep lowering the brush size. So this is really just to show you that you're not restricted to changing the hair colours by continually adding hue saturation layers and altering the layer mask to suit. I made some of those teeth pink, so I'm going to change to black, and I'm just going to go over them. So get rid of any colour that may have leaked onto them. There you go. I'll press Ctrl and 0 and come out. So I've changed her lipstick as well, not just her hair. So that is the end of the tutorial. You can save or export it, but make sure you do it under a new name so you keep your original safe. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.